everyone. This is Wayne Bennett with ECRM and Range Me. I'm happy to be here today with a very special series, Fireside Chat series. I'm happy to announce the Woman Behind the Brand series, which is being hosted and sponsored by the Emerson Group, which is a valued leader in healthcare, wellness, and beauty. And today, we're going to kick off our first video chat with Lynette Ackley, who is a leader in the industry, someone I've known for a very long time. And Lynette, it's really great to see you again. I appreciate you being part of the series. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, Wayne. Thanks for having me. This is exciting to be part of this series.
Lynette, it's awesome to have you. So Lynette, let's get into this. So tell me a little bit about your current role at Meijer.
Sure. It's been an amazing, I would say, 14 years almost here at Meijer. And so I've had the pleasure of being on a lot of different teams. But currently today, I am the group vice president over our health and beauty, our household area, and our hardlines businesses. So we do a little bit in my merchant teams from baby food and formula to Christmas trees to deodorant. And so it's an exciting time to be in retail. I have the pleasure of leading all of the merchant teams that make the decisions for all of the product and the promotions and the placement across our 270 stores. It's a team of about 160 people. So it keeps me busy, but it keeps me excited because retail is so fun because every day is just a new challenge.
Absolutely. I would agree with you, Lynette. I feel the same way. And you certainly, as I've been connected to you and have watched your career, you've done a lot and just really a perfect person to have the discussion with today. So what I really want to start off with is, can you share some defining moments in your career that have really been significant in your professional life and maybe share some barriers you've overcome in that effort?
Sure. I would say, I think the beauty of retail and merchandising is we've all come from so many different backgrounds. So I'd say the first defining moment out of undergrad, I started at Morgan Stanley. I
Oh,
started in
wow.
financial services. And so I was the marketing manager to our branch sales manager as well. And so this was a really interesting time to be in the financial services industry. She was my mentor and my ally. She was the only female on the leadership team in an industry that's still probably predominantly male. And so she was instrumental in bringing me to the table and pushing me and challenging me to do things that I honestly didn't even know I was ready to do. And I'll forever be grateful. So I spent a few wonderful years there. And then, like many of us in these industries, I made a total career shift. I went to get my MBA at Indiana University. I'm from the Midwest in Indiana. Took a total risk and changed my whole career to go into more consumer goods and start my career in retail during that program. Went to an internship and then went to Target stores in Minneapolis, which is where I really got to learn all of the ins and outs of this fascinating retail industry and spent 7 wonderful years there learning and buying. And then same thing here. It's all about taking risks and trying things different. About 7 years in, I really wanted to get closer to home. Grew up in Northeast Indiana with Meijer and had heard wonderful things about the organization. And so made a shift again to come here and started as the director in our beauty and cosmetics area. And then the rest is sort of history. What I'd
Right.
say in terms of barriers is really about in retail, it's about changing industries and changing your role every couple of years. And so even if I think back to my Target days, I started as a merchandising buyer in fresh meat. Then, oops, and my lights are going. And then I went to the hardlines businesses, and then I went to the HBC area. And so it's all about having this openness and this curiosity to learn and try
Yep.
different things. And that's the beauty of retail is you can get all these different experiences, but work for still the same amazing company along the way.
Yeah, Lynette, that's really fantastic, and I appreciate you sharing that journey with me and obviously the listeners of the podcast. And for someone who's been there and who has done it, and obviously that's a journey, so it's never really done.
Mhm.
What advice can you give to aspiring females who want to get into the world of retail and advance their career?
Absolutely. I think it's really about being curious. asking questions. Don't be afraid to ask the question, even if you think it's the dumb question, because no question is a dumb question. And if you want to be successful in retail, but I think in any industry, especially for women, we got to be okay with saying, hey, I don't understand that. Does someone have an idea? Can someone help me learn this? Because I'm really curious and I want to learn more and I have a passion for it. And it's okay to say you don't know, and then make those contacts along the way and find those people that can help you learn. I think showing that never ending curiosity is
Yeah,
something that really I look for in people on my team. I don't expect you to know everything. I say you don't have to be a rocket scientist to be great in retail. You just got to have a real passion and
yeah,
curiosity for understanding what does the consumer want
yeah.
and what do they also need and how can we help satisfy that.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And Lynette, one of the reasons why you're here kicking off the Women Behind the Brand series is the recognition of your passion. We've known each other for a long time. I
Mm-hmm.
know your passion really shines. So definitely agree with you on that. So in the mentoring and advocating for women, can you share a little bit about what you've done, maybe at Meijer to advance the women in general within the
Yep.
organization?
I'd say really it's about creating relationships. This business is all about having relationships with our customers, with our vendor partners, but then certainly internally. And so I really believe I'm here today because of the support and the mentorship of so many great leaders along the way. And so it's all about paying that back. And so I try to create relationships formally, informally through different projects or task forces or such that I'm on to be a willing mentor to anyone who needs some help in any part of their career. And so we have formal programs, mentorship programs, but honestly, I find a lot of it is the informal pieces as a leader in the company and going to a meeting and someone just did an amazing job presenting, but pulling them aside afterwards and recognizing that. I think so much of it is about how we take those moments to be really intentional
Yep.
about recognizing each other's successes, especially for the women as they're coming up in the company, and especially as a more senior female leader in the company. I feel like that's absolutely my role, but it's honestly absolutely my passion. I love the relationship piece of this. To me, my role isn't about picking the items and the assortment. That's what I have these amazing people on my team. My role is really about developing the culture and creating a place where people want to come and grow.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. And Lynette, so given the responsibilities you have with so many different categories and a very large merchant team and keeping focused on the business at hand, how do you balance work
That
life
is
and the personal life? Like how
That
do you
is
do it?
that is the brilliant question for all of us. I would say for everyone, I tell my team, and especially I'm a working mom. I've got a 9 and 12-year-old daughters that I probably learn more from them about some of the social media trends these days. But balance, I'd say, is very personal. And so I think as a leader, it's recognizing that means really different things to every different person. It could be kids, it could be dogs, it could be taking care of family members. And so how do we create the space that's safe where people feel comfortable to say, hey, I've got this today or this today. For me, it's really about sort of setting boundaries for myself, trying to make sure I turn it off the laptop for an hour or two and get home and make dinner. And that's our family time and, no electronics at the table.
Right.
How do I give myself the permission to do that? But I'll be honest, early in my career, when I had younger children at home, I honestly
Mhm.
struggled with it a lot. And
Mhm.
what changed my
Yeah.
whole perspective was my first assistant at the time. And he pulled me aside and he said, look, it's okay. Go to that soccer game. Go leave early because you got this. She's got a ballet class. All the work will be there. And he honestly gave me that permission that I wasn't even maybe giving myself. And it's something that has deeply stayed with me. And so it's about how do you really stay close to your team and notice, hey, I saw a lot of emails at 10 o'clock last night. I think that's great if you're catching up, but I also want you to know I don't expect you to be doing that. I sure hope you are. Go spend that time with your family
Yeah.
or whomever. So it's a constant challenge and it ebbs and flows, but I certainly hope for my team, I like to model, hey, this works for me. It's a 6 a.m. Orange Theory gym class. That's what works for me. And I get into
Right.
work a little later. And so how do you model that for your team and give them that permission of your day is your day, and I trust that you're going to get it done. However, the schedule works best for you.
Right, and I'm sure that is meaningful and really supports the team to become even more productive.
I sure hope
So
so.
so
Yeah.
that's great, Lynette. Um, I'm curious to get your perspective on women-driven innovation
Mhm.
and how that shaped consumer trends. What's your perspective on that?
Oh, I think it's so exciting right now when you think about the innovation that's coming. And so we are so focused on being first and fast with new at Meijer. I would say we get innovation, we find it from a couple different ways. So certainly our customers tell us through our store directors if we're missing something that's hot and exciting. We have a really great also team internally that's focused specifically on finding those local and those diverse suppliers, including women-owned businesses. And so they'll bring us so many great ideas, which is fascinating for our industry right now. And then our teams are really focused also on going to a lot of trade shows.
Yeah,
But I think, especially if you think about some of the businesses I'm in with the beauty business, the baby business, a lot of the toys businesses, wherever we can find those opportunities to lift up those local or those diverse suppliers, it represents our customer base. It's what our customer
yeah,
wants. As a super center, we have customers, we just have a wide range of demographics. But ultimately, she and mom is at the core of our strategy. So
yeah.
if we can find those items that she loves, and more and more today, some of the innovation is coming from those smaller players, then we love to have that opportunity to be first and fast and bring them into the retail industry.
Yeah, Lynette, I would definitely align with what you're saying because I know our organization does work with
Mhm.
your teams on local
Yep.
and diverse efforts, and
Yep.
we've been doing that for a while. So, for those out there, what Lynette is saying is true. They
Yeah.
are intentional and highly focused in those efforts. Um, Lynette, maybe just going a little bit deeper, but what are some of the key considerations or factors that you think about or your merchant team thinks about when you collaborate with some of these new suppliers?
Well, I think it's all about, what do they bring that's different to our assortment? For them and for us, another Me Too item isn't necessarily going to be as relevant. And so it's about how do we always start with the customer first insights? And so what is our customer looking for? And these days, she's very much looking for value and convenience.
Yeah,
And so how does that play out in terms of our assortment strategy? So it's got to be incremental, something unique, something different, but then always in that lens of how are we providing her a great value, which doesn't always just mean price, it means quality and how we're making her life easier. And so
yeah,
those lenses really come into play in terms of when we think about any product assortment.
yeah,
What is it bringing first? What does that customer need that we're satisfying that we could be missing today? And what's exciting about retail is with the social media trends is those needs are changing all the time. And so
yeah,
especially I find the smaller local diverse suppliers are able to move a little faster in terms of bringing some of that innovation to market, which is exciting.
yeah, definitely. Lynette, that's very helpful. Thank you. So I'm curious to know about a personal story or a key lesson that you've learned that has really shaped your leadership style.
Sure. I think, gosh, so many ways and people along the way. But I think right now, as a leader of a large team, a few years ago, I had a key supplier ask me how much of my time is spent on people and how much of my time is spent on the business.
Good
And
question.
he was actually, it was a great question. And he was shocked because I said 75% of my time is people,
Mm,
25% is business, even I was a vice president at the time. And so I think that is born from the years of amazing mentors and allies I've had that I have learned if you focus on the people, if you focus on getting the right culture, getting the right passion and excited people on your team, all of the business results will follow.
yes.
And so that has always been really, and honestly, I got into retail because I love the items. I loved being a buyer over in the planogram room. But what I really love are the relationships and seeing people flourish and grow. And so that was a really pivotal sort of moment and question that I had. And then the second one, kind of to go on top of that, was also along the way as a leader, we celebrate some of the some of my best moments, I think, are celebrating the successes of my team. But I've
Mm.
also had those moments where you've had people that haven't been successful. And I think back again to our a great mentor of mine, and I was really struggling over making a tough decision about a team member. And his advice was, if you I was saying I hadn't slept well the night before, I had to make a tough decision. His whole point was, that's good. Because if you shouldn't be sleeping well, even if you know it's the right decision, if you lose that sense of empathy for people, then you're
Right,
never going to be a great leader. And so
right.
I think about those two conversations a lot when it comes to my leadership style.
Yeah, Lynette, that's excellent. I appreciate you sharing some of those stories and really defining what makes you a great leader. So that's fantastic. So, Lynette, one last question. So, I know you have dedicated your career to retail. I've been in this industry a long time. It is a very fun, exciting, ever-changing industry, and it is an industry with lots of passionate people. So, my question for you is at the end of this, what is your vision for a more inclusive and equitable future for women in retail?
Oh, my vision. I mean, I often think my legacy is not going to be something you see in the store. It's not going to be some P&L that we pull out 20 years from now. My vision is really the people that I hope to have had an impact on, to have influenced and mentored along the way, that they're going to be running this company and companies like this long after I've gone. And so it really stems from, how do we find the right people, women, men, but in general, that have that passion for the customer, that continue to care and have such a passion for leading people and developing people. That passion for all of that is what's going to really continue the success that our retail industry has had.
Yeah, well, Lynette, your results have proven that what you're doing is working, and Meijer is certainly a fantastic organization, and we appreciate your leadership and your commitment to the growth and the success of the marketplace. So, Lynette Ackley, it was great to see you, and I appreciate the time today on the Women Behind the Brands series. I do want to also thank the Emerson Group for their support to this programming, which I think is very key and essential.
Yeah,
So. Lynette, it's a pleasure to see you. I hope to see you again soon. I'm sure I will,
I'm
and
sure we will.
appreciate you being here with me.
Thanks so much, Wayne. It's been a pleasure.